today. Thank you very much for your time, everybody. I hope this will be an informative session for you. We're here to discuss Dynamics 365 Sales and Customer Insights and the updates that have come into the products over the last little while and as part of this wave of development and release. We've cherry-picked a few things that we think are going to be impactful in this release. And joining today is obviously myself, Nigel Bradley, the practice manager for our D365 Power Platform practice at Prefill Microchannel. And also we also have Josh O'Day, who is our marketing automation specialist, who is part of the team here within the Power Platform team. So we're going to walk through some of the components today. As I said, picking up some of those high level cherry-picked items from the new release wave. So as you can see on the screen, our agenda, we'll take you through this before we start. In Dynamics 365 Sales, we're going to have a look at a few AI components, mainly AI components and Copilot components into the new product, or into the product as new. And then we're going to swap over to Josh, and we're going to have a look at the customer insights of the marketing automation components and take you through some of those key new components as well as some of the AI components in the application in this wave. So there's a couple of, Josh will go through about 6 items in the customer insights component. So we're going to focus primarily on customer insights with a bit of sales right up front. If you're not aware of the Dynamics 365 release planner, please reach out and we'd be more than happy to walk you through this. But Dynamics, Microsoft have a D365 and Power Platform release planner available on the web. The links will be available in this once you actually get access to this video, but you'll see that it focuses on a range of different applications. We're going to focus on D365 Sales and Customer Insights today, but it also goes through within the customer engagement platform, customer service, field service, project operations. One of the newer applications, Contact Center as well, is available in there as well. But from the Power Platform side of things, it also goes through Power Apps. And might be interesting for you to have a look at Copilot Studio if you haven't touched on agents and the world of agents at the moment. Copilot Studio is somewhere where you can start that journey of having a look at how you can use agents. So let's start just by looking at 3 items within D365 Sales. We've chosen D365 Sales primarily because that's the starting point for most people's journeys in the customer insights if they haven't started with into customer engagement, if they haven't started with customer insights. So we've chosen D365 really as our launching pad and some of the key things there just for that very purpose. So as we go through, let's touch on some of those wonderful new things that are being released in this particular wave. Now, I'm not going to be showing you everything live because, as you may be aware, the D365 release planner allows for things to be released in stages throughout the wave, and some of these will be released this month, some of them will be released in later months. As you can see, we have the D365 Research Agent as part of the application as well, and that is a new feature within D365. It will be released this month, and you'll be able to have a play with this. It won't be in general availability till later in the year, but definitely available to play with very shortly. What that actually does is it will allow for salespeople to start to have a little bit of a research area rather than using Copilot itself to query components within D365. You will have the ability to go to the sales research agent and to be able to ask questions within there that is focused on releasing and giving you information in the sales area. So you can see there, there's a prompt screen in the middle, and there's also some additional prompts down the bottom, or some prefabbed prompts that you can start to add in and to click into, and to start your journey in terms of prompts in the sales research agent. What does that do? It actually starts an agent in the background, and it builds up. If you put in there such as that assess territory and account distribution, it will start that agent to go and find all the information within D365 that we have and present that in a nice, easy, visual way. So rather than you going and having to create an agent to do all of this, Microsoft have preset some of these components to come in through things like the sales research agent. You'll also see the sales qualification agent in a moment. What this allows you to do out of the box, have some sort of research and searching tool within Dynamics 365 using Copilot, and to return some of these prefabbed components. So that's the sales research agent. You also have access to the sales qualification agent this month, and this is going to be a really good thing around leads. So imagine the fact that we want to have somebody as an assistant to help us focus our attention as a seller on leads. Where do we actually focus our attention? And this allows us to go through and pick out suggested items that we can then start to manage. Let's have a little look at this. So opening up the lead screen, you'll start to see a panel up the top of the lead screen with the sales qualification agent, and it will start to help you engage with where you should focus your time. AI in the background is going in and looking at the information that you've got in there, your targets, etc., and start to pick out, right, here's where you probably should be focusing your time. So you'll see there that it says, right, one of the things that I should be doing is engaging with Jane Rees. She may be interested in upgrading, so let's have a little look at that. The way that it does this is through some of the engagement touch points that you've got in the background, and the information that you fed into that particular lead, and allows you then to allows AI to then start to present that to you. So once I've clicked in there, Copilot will actually tell you why it's chosen it, and given you some information around some of the key things and some of the key metrics, and some of the information around the contact itself, or the lead itself. So this is a key thing for the product as you go through, and it will start to then point you to such as emails that you may be wanting to send, suggested emails, compose it. So right at the moment, I haven't I haven't written anything. I've just been using the prompts that D365 and the sales qualification agent has given me. And at this point, I can now start to say, right, well, that sounds like a pretty good email. I can send that off. So the sales qualification agent this month will start to really, I suppose, prompt and give you some good assistance around if you're using leads, how you can use those leads and to qualify those leads. And you will then start to see some pipeline focus in here as well. So if you've put in there that you have a $45 million target, you'll then start to see some of that come to light in terms of your progress, where you should be focusing, etc. So if you're a sales organization that works on those components of pipeline, this is one that you really need to be focused on and having a look at. That's enough for the sales agents. Two really good agents that are coming in. So the sales research agent and the sales qualification agent coming into the application. I wanted flick over and show you the Copilot search capabilities that has now crept into D365. I'm going to show you that live, so I'm just going to flick over to D365 and show you that in the application. So if you haven't seen this component, this is a component that you can now turn on. And one of our team could help you do that. But this might, if you haven't turned this on, you wouldn't have the ability to see this little bar up the top here in the Visualize screen. You probably are all very familiar with opportunities and views and wherever we see those. In this view scenario, if I was to wanting to then filter and do ask the application to filter these items, I would be using one of these filters, filtering on different things, and to be able to then shorten that. This allows us to inject Copilot into this and to be able to do things such as use natural language to filter these components. So in using the Copilot component of this search, it allows us to then use natural language rather than the filtering tools to do that. So I've just searched on the owner is Lynn, and I'm also going to do the estimated revenue is greater than $10,000. And you'll notice up the top there, as it does this little exercise and filters out, it's adding in tag filters as it goes along. So if I said, right, okay, that's fantastic, get rid of that filter that we actually had there for that, and I can close those filters down. I can also then use the Copilot to visualize that. If you've ever used the charting component or the historical charting component of D365, that will have, and I'll just refresh, this won't be a second, that will have appeared over on the side, and you see the show the chart component. Just going to close it down and start it up again, so it has a little bit of a chart, has a little bit of an issue. My apologies, let me just refresh that altogether. If you've ever used that charting tool in there as it stands, very similar to what you would be doing in Excel and being able to do pivot charts, etc. But in this scenario, when we've got that open, this uses Power BI and Copilot to generate those graphs and charts on the fly as we go along. So you'll see that in the screen there at the moment. I can use different filters in there, different graphs, all using Copilot and Power BI to actually generate that. So some nice tools within the view scenario of the sales component within D365. So just to 3 of those things that we've looked at with the sales wave, the sales research agent, the sales qualification agent, and the visualization of a Copilot and the searching of Copilot. So I'm just going to flick back to Josh and give him control. So I just move that over to Customer Insights, let Josh take control, and Josh can introduce you and walk you through the next few stages of the presentation.
Thank you, Nigel. All right, so yeah, look, I'm going to be covering off just some of the key items in the release plan for Customer Insights. For anyone here that might be just focused on the sales component, just as a bit of insight, this is the marketing component of Dynamics 365. And so we're going to kick off with a little bit more Copilot. So just give me a second, I will jump in and share my screen here. Okay, so the first item we're going to look at is really leveraging Copilot to create journeys in Customer Insights. Now, I'm going to show you one example today, but I strongly encourage you to have a look at the different Copilot features that are listed throughout the Customer Insights application. Don't shy away from it. A lot of people seem to skip past it and go straight to building things out manually, whether that's building emails or segments or other components of the Customer Insights module. But this really will save you a lot of time. So it really takes you from having to create things from scratch to letting Copilot create things within Customer Insights and allowing you just to curate. And what I mean by that is just going in and making little tweaks here and there. So I'm going to jump across and just show you this, how this looks like in Customer Insights. So we'll jump over to it. And what the screen I have in front of me now is a new journey. And so in this scenario, let's say I want to create a customer journey that detects when someone visits our website. And when they visit the website, we want to trigger an email to them, seeing if they would like a quote. Then we want to have another step where if they request a quote, we want to go and send a confirmation email and then generate a lead in Dynamics 365. So of course, we could go and create that journey manually and put all those assets together. But in this case, I'm going to create the journey and kick it off with Copilot. So I put that prompt there in natural language, and I can press this button here. Now, it's not always going to be perfect. And we'll probably see here it's going to ask some additional questions. So we can see straight away it's popped up and said that it sounds like the journey will respond to a trigger, but it's asking what trigger. So it's understanding the context, but needs a little bit more information. So here I'm going to go and fill some of these details in. So I'm going to use a trigger and say website visited, and then I'm going to choose my audience. So now I can press submit, and we can see that it's actually generated a visual preview of what this journey will look like. And it's sort of listed out those steps over here as well. So we can see that, yes, we've got the first stage is someone visiting the website. The email is there, so sending an email to inquire for a quote. And then we've got another stage that checks if they've actually submitted the request a quote form. If they have, it creates a lead and then sends a quote confirmation email. So here we can go create journey, and here it's actually generated those stages for us. So you can see literally in a matter of about 1 minute, we can start to put that structure in place for the journey. Now, as I mentioned before, it's not going to be perfect, and we've still got to plug in bits and pieces. So for example, we may not have this email already. So inquire for quote, we don't have that. So we can either select the email or we go and create that. So we've still got to build certain assets in the background, but it starts to give us that logic in place for these journeys. And as I mentioned, this is across various areas. If you're building segments, you can use natural language to generate that segment as well. So you're not having to worry about query parameters. So if anyone here is using Customer Insights, I strongly encourage you to jump in and check that out. If you're building a segment or an email or a journey, just give it a go and see how you go and see if it saves you some time. So I'll jump back across to my slides. Let's see over here. Okay, the next one we're going to take a look at is Heatmap analytics. So this one here's been a long time coming. If there's anyone here that was in using the old outbound marketing version of Customer Insights, this was an out-of-the-box feature that was provided. It's taken quite some time to get this feature back into the new real-time component, but it is there now along with some other nice reporting features. So I'll just jump across again and show you that capability. So if we jump into another tab here, I have an email which is really referencing that one from the previous journey. It's going to be an email that's sent out requesting, getting people to submit that request to quote form. So within this email, I can jump over to my Insights tab, and I'll have all of the statistics around my email, the delivery rate, the open rate, the click-through rate. But that's where we also get this click map. So we can click here, and we get that visual representation of where people are actually clicking in the email. So from here, we can see that We've had 2 people that have clicked up in the products link up in the top there. And at this stage, we've had 1 person click the request a quote button. So this can be really great if you're looking at emails and you're wanting to potentially improve those click-through rates, being able to analyze the performance of these emails and seeing where people click and help you modify and enhance your future communications. And in addition to what we see visually, we can see over on the left-hand side that it tells us which button and how many clicks it achieved. What we can also do is actually filter by device. So if I go down to here and select over to mobile, we can see that we've actually had no clicks on mobile so far. So we can toggle that in and see the experience across the various devices that people are actually going and clicking on those different links throughout our email communications. So we'll jump back and go back to our slide. Okay, so another recent release is quiet times that we have in the system. So this has been an incremental improvement over time, but really what this aims to achieve is supporting you to enable periods where you don't want to be sending communications. You may have many ongoing journeys that are running automatically. So automated communications that are going out 7 days a week at different times. And there's going to be periods where you're not going to want to be communicating with your leads or your customers, right? So that could be weekends, that could be late at night, and that can be location specific as well. So we can actually go in and apply different rules. So I'll jump across again to here, and we'll go into these quiet time settings. So I'll zoom in a little bit here. And so we can apply some general rules. Like we can jump in and say, okay, for all our emails that go out of customer insights, let's put a quiet type in that we won't send any communications over the weekend. So I can click that edit button and I can select Saturday and Sunday. I will choose all day and press done. And now no communications will be automatically triggered over that weekend period. And they essentially will be held off until the next available period to send. We can go in and actually toggle this option off and choose time periods. A very common one is late at night. You don't want communications waking people up in at midnight or early hours of the morning. So this is another great one as well, just being able to put those time frames in there. Now, you may be wondering how we go about managing different time zones. And really, that's where we have this latest component, and that's around putting different rules in place based on really either state or country or city for that matter. So we can go in, and in this case, you can see that I've put a rule in here that if state province equals New South Wales, then I will apply these rules here. So I created one where we don't want to send from Monday to Friday from 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. and 12 a.m. to 7 a.m. That's really just covering that 8 p.m. to 7 a.m. in the morning. And I also don't want to send any communications over the weekend. So I could have that, and then I could create a second one to cater for a different time zone if I had a customer base in, say, Western Australia that I wanted to communicate with, and we wanted to put those quiet times according to their time zone, and then we can apply those different rules in place as well. So this is really this is particularly effective if you have a lot of customer journeys running automatically. So as different actions occur. For example, you've seen at the start of my presentation, one was that someone had visited the website, and there was a few stages to that. So of course, entry into that journey is when they visit the website, but some of those stages throughout the journey might happen late at night at all different times of the day. It really just based around the criteria of that journey. So putting these in place will just improve your customer satisfaction in that you're communicating to them at the right time. All right, so we'll jump back across. Okay, so I've got two birds in the one stone with this one. So we've got pre-fill forms and easy data collection. Pre-fill forms is a great one in that if you have customer information in the system and you're using a customer insights form on your website, then we can automatically pre-fill data on those forms. So let's say someone navigates to your website and goes into a contact form. You may already know their first name, last name, email, and mobile. So we don't need to ask them for that information again. And so with this new feature, we can pre-fill that data from CRM. It's going to identify that visitor on your website. It's going to extract the information from CRM and actually place it into the web form. So really, they only have to go and fill in the details that we don't already have in the system. The second component to that is around easy data collection. For anyone that's used forms in customer insights, traditionally, we had to go and we could only add fields to our form that were fields in our database. So your first name, last name, email, any field we had in the database, we could drag and drop into the form and away you go. But let's say you had a custom question you wanted to put on the form that wasn't a field that you had in the database, we were quite limited there. And so this one solves that by enabling you to add custom form fields directly into your forms. So we'll jump across and have a quick look at both of those features. And so we can see here that I've got a request a quote form. If anyone's new to this, it's our drag and drop form builder in Customer Insights. And that could be for lead generation, that could be contact forms, it could be various different scenarios. You drag and drop this form and then you can embed it straight on your website. And what I mean by the custom form fields, traditionally we had all of the fields that were listed in our database, and when we wanted one of those on the form, we could simply drag it in. But we were limited in that we couldn't add those additional fields. So now we can go in and actually create what we call an unmapped field. And an unmapped field is just any custom field that we want. So once we drag that in, missing a little box there. Let's go new. Okay, that one's not displaying. So I've got two examples anyway. So I've got current solution provider and preferred callback time. These are two fields that didn't exist in my database, but they're two fields that I wanted on that contact form. So I could then go and create those as those custom unmapped fields. And now I'm capturing that extra information that I want to capture on the form. The second component to this form that's the latest enhancement, you'll see this little icon that appears over on the right. That little icon represents that it will pre-fill if it can. So we enable that on our form by going to the settings menu, and we have a little pre-fill option here. So what I'm going to do is jump over to my email inbox, and I've sent myself an automated email here. I've got an email saying, hey, would love you to jump in and request a quote. So if I actually press this button, I'm going to get taken to the website here. And here we're taken to the contact form, and you can see an example here that it's actually just put all of that information in directly from CRM and place it in the form. So you can start to get an idea of how much quicker it can be for that end user going and submitting a form. We don't need to ask them those additional questions. We already know that information. So now we can go in and just put in our solution provider. Now I'll put in MCS, and then I'll set my preferred callback time as afternoon, and I can press submit. And it wants me to modify this format. So we'll do that. There we go. So now we've submitted the form by only having to enter those two fields there, which is great. It's just a really great time saver. Okay, so we'll jump back, and I think we've got the last one here. I briefly mentioned this one earlier as part of one of the other items, but we do have web interactions available now. And so really what web interactions aims to do is connect your website visitors with CRM. And the benefit of that is then you can track all of your CRM customers or your prospects or your leads and when they visit the website. So let's think of a scenario. Let's say that you had a lead and you were communicating with them, and that lead dropped off because it wasn't the right time. You may have a customer journey that's running and constantly looking out for when people go and visit your website, and it can detect when that person, that original lead, has then visited your website in 6 months, and that could trigger an automated journey, and that journey could then go and create a lead in the system or create a phone call task for a salesperson to follow up. So it's a really awesome feature in that it connects that CRM with those prospects, so that when we see that they're going and visiting the website, they're showing intent to do some sort of business transaction with our business. They're visiting our website. So that could be a very good time for a salesperson or to follow up with them, or a marketer to communicate with them. So that's really what this web tracking component aims to achieve. And so if I just jump back one more time back to here, and the way we actually leverage this web tracking capability is via a trigger. And so we have two triggers. And so we have, if I search website here, we have marketing website clicked and marketing website visited. And so really, this enables us to track the two different scenarios: if someone's clicking on something on our website or just purely visiting. If we click visiting, we could target specific pages as well. So I could say, we only want people to enter into this journey if they visit a specific page URL, a specific page name. So for me, I might be interested if anyone's sticky beaking on the micro channel website and going and looking at the customer insights page. So I could have then an automated journey that then creates a task for me, or an automated email communication to them based on when they go and visit that page on the website. So a really great feature.